Thank you, Hugh. Good to be with you.
Now, I always remind people you are the only United States Senator who is also a former Supreme Court Justice, not the federal Supreme Court, but the Texas Supreme Court. So you have a unique, indeed invaluable position on the committee. What did you make of yesterday's opening round of Judge Barrett's hearings?
Well, I think our Democratic friends decided they didn't want to go down the path of anti-Catholicism and bigotry. At least explicitly, there was some reference to Griswold versus Connecticut, which Josh Hawley aptly picked up as a sort of in disguise a big Catholic bigotry. But I think what was most remarkable to me is they didn't talk about the judge much at all. They talked about the Affordable Care Act, predicting how judges may rule in the future is a pretty risky business. We've seen that happen a number of times where people predicted just because a judge was nominated by this party or that party that they were going to rule in this particular way. But that's the marvels of an independent judiciary, which is really our crown jewels.
Now, Senator Cornyn, with our legal firepower on that committee, I think of Josh Hawley, clerk to the Chief Justice. I think of Ted Cruz, who won so many cases in the Supreme Court. I think of you, it's the Supreme Court Justice, that they don't want to really get into issues of court packing or of the fundamental stability of the republic. But I hope we do. This is a bipartisan issue, in my view. We cannot expand the Supreme Court, nor can we be confused as to what court packing means. It is a fundamental assault on the republic.
No question about it, Hugh. And I think you'll hear a lot more about that today. Yesterday was the speechifying. Today we actually get to ask questions and hear from the judge herself. And I think there are going to be a lot of questions about the independence of the judiciary, turning it into another legislative body. Even Justice Ginsburg cautioned against court packing, adding additional partisan judges to the courts, and it would destroy the nature of the judiciary itself to be an independent arbiter of what the law is.
Now, I do want to talk for a moment about something that threatens to drive my audience away, severability. I remarked on Twitter yesterday, one of the reasons I am very glad never to have been even considered to be a federal judge nor put up my hand is it gives me a headache to talk about severability, and certainly to rule on severability would be a nightmare. I don't know if you ever had to do that as a justice, John Cornyn. Did you? Do you recall any Texas cases on severability?
Absolutely. And, just in a nutshell, Hugh, it's judges are required to uphold a statute unless it's unconstitutional. And if part of it is unconstitutional, then they can sever that out and leave the rest intact. And in fact, that's what I think many court watchers are predicting. That's really the conservative way of judging. It would not be conservative to say because part of the statute's unconstitutional, we're going to strike the whole thing down, which is what Democrats are predicting. I think they're wrong.
I think they're wrong, too. Now, originally, I understand the common sense argument. Chief Justice Roberts upheld ACA because it was a tax. You repealed the tax, therefore it must fall. But Professor Adler at Case Western and many others have persuaded me, no, in fact, when you repealed the tax, you strengthened the argument that it was severable. And I believe it's dispositive, and I believe the court will rule probably 8-1 that the ACA remains. But they're putting all of their chips on that really obscure argument. Do you think that's persuasive?
No, it's a political argument. I mean, most of the diatribes you heard yesterday were directed at President Trump, and they claimed that the judge was a party to a vast conspiracy to destroy the ACA, which, by the way, Hugh, Democrats have moved on from the ACA. They realize now with the high premiums and the high deductibles that it didn't meet the promises, the extravagant promises that President Obama and others made. Now they're into government-run Medicare for all, which, as you know, will destroy Medicare as we know it and deny tens of millions of people their coverage that they get from their employer. But that's what this is about. This is a political argument, not a legal argument.
Are you grading this for civility? I think Chris Coons, one of the people I admire the most in the Senate on the Democratic side is Chris Coons, and I think he remains civil at all times. But yesterday, Senator Whitehouse, in his references to the president, when President Obama was there for 8 years, I always referred to him as President Obama because it's the office, right? And is this a new level of incivility towards the president?
Yeah, I think it's just a new level of incivility. Period. It was again they want to stir up their political base and sort of pour gasoline on Trump derangement syndrome because I think that helps them. And you may have noticed that in their comments, whether it's Senator Whitehouse or others, they name names on the committee: Lindsey Graham, me, Joni Ernst, Tom Tillis, all of whom are on the ballot. And this was all directed at politics and the election and fundraising. I'm sure they're going to reap a bunch of money on their internet portal site because they're going to stir up their base, and that's what they're trying to do. They're using this as a political event, not as a confirmation hearing.
Well, I can't understand is they helped your reelection in Texas yesterday because the argument against you was that you've appointed great Texans to the federal bench.
I'm happy to stand guilty of that accusation, Hugh. It was kind of jaw dropping.
Yeah, Judge Willett, Judge Ho, these are terrific judges that Texans are very proud of, and they're attacking you and Ted Cruz for putting Lone Star State judges on it. I just shaking my head. So I come back to the overarching issue. Will she be confirmed, and when do you think she'll be heard and dispatched from the committee to the floor of the Senate?
She will be voted out of the committee no later than October the 22nd. As you know, under our arcane rules that we've talked about before, there is this holdover period, but Senator Graham has done a good job of making sure we can have a safe and civil hearing, and we're on a glide path to get her out of committee on October the 22nd, and she's then available for the majority leader to put the nomination on the floor and get her confirmed before the election.
I can't even imagine how they could attack Judge Barrett in the way that Justice Kavanaugh was. But have you had any signals of a storm cloud? Have there been any secret letters that get released after the hearing hinted about?
I think that's one reason they're so frustrated. There's not much to work with. A mother of seven, and just somebody with a stellar record like hers. So, really, as I mentioned a moment ago, they're insulting the judge by suggesting she will violate her judicial oath by ordaining a outcome in a case that she hasn't even heard yet. I mean, this is like a triple bank shot, and I just don't think it holds up under any kind of scrutiny.
Senator Cornyn, I've been teaching for 25 years at the Fowler School of Law at Chapman, so I have two concerns. One is she's gotten student reviews for 20 years. She's been Teacher of the Year like 3 times, but nevertheless, every set of student reviews is a bell curve. Someone doesn't like you, and you always get slammed. I think they're going to produce a student or two that didn't like her. And I also think because she served on the appointments committee, as I did for like 10 years at Chapman, we're going to find a disappointed job seeker somewhere, and they're going to be produced at the last moment. Any rumblings about either of those category of attack witnesses?
No, I haven't heard anything, but that's not much to work with. But I agree with you that that's a possibility. But I think we'll just have to see. Hopefully, no secret letters that the ranking member is hiding and will spring on us late in the confirmation hearing. But I wouldn't put anything past them based on what we saw in the Kavanaugh hearing.
Last question: have we heard anything from Michael Avenatti in federal prison?
No, thankfully. That's a silver lining in this confirmation hearing. No, Michael Avenatti.
All right. Okay. I lied. One last question on Courtpacking. They have a talking point, and I very rarely say that, but their talking point is now saying judicial reform instead of Courtpacking. Everybody knows Courtpacking means adding seats to the Supreme Court. Everybody knows that. Do they look at you off camera and admit that this is an attempt to go Orwell? Do they ever just admit it?
No. They have drunk the Kool-Aid, Hugh, and they're true believers, and they think the means is justified by the end. And for them, it's about power, and it's the destruction, in my opinion, of an independent judiciary, which is really, as I said earlier, the crown jewels of our system.
It will destabilize the republic. So good luck, Senator, and I appreciate your coming on. I look forward to the questioning today. I'm one of the few people out there that actually will listen to it all. I appreciate your joining me, Senator.
Thanks, Hugh.
I